Good morning. The events of the past week has been really troubling. Young people going out into the streets. It's not so much to protest, but even the protest is illegal because you need a police permit to assemble, and they give you a time, and they give you you have to apply for where you're going to assemble. You just don't go and assemble, which they have done. Okay, that's fine. They have a right to do that. But the looting and the destruction of private property, that is illegal. I know the cops haven't done anything because their hands are tied. There are just too many of them. And with the current issue of police brutality, it would do more harm if they went in and become aggressive. But it is troubling at best, and there are opinions flying around. Not everybody thinks that it is troubling. There are people who does not, who think that they are totally qualified and should do that, to destroy property and loot, that this is to show society that they should do something about it. My sister and I were arguing on this point. We all came from the same stock. We were all poor. She went into the ministry, in fact, and I know she's been very disappointed with people in the church. And for this reason, she's come away being totally cynical, a non-believer. It's really heartbreaking every time I talk to her. It's the things she says, it's like taking a knife and piercing into my heart. It just breaks my heart. So I was ready for her, knowing that these things will come out. And I remember some passages in Psalm 1 actually, and I will read to you. Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join in with scoffers. Scoffers are people who poo-poo that there's no God, or cynics. But they delight in doing everything the Lord wants. Day and night they think about his law. They are like trees planted along the river bank, bearing fruit each season without fail. Their leaves never wither, and in all they do, they prosper. But this is not so for the wicked. And the Lord watches over the path of the godly, but the path of the wicked leads to destruction. These messages are so simple. The Bible, though huge volume, is tough to read, but simple at the same time if you're just starting in your faith. Like the 10 Commandments, so there are only 10 commandments. Love the Lord your God. Love your neighbors as yourselves. Who are your neighbor? Who is your neighbor? The people you loot, you destroy, whose property you destroy, the people whose property you looted and stole without paying, those are your neighbors. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. It is so simple. We don't need a PhD to learn these things. A child at 5 can know these things. But it's not taught anymore. It is unfashionable. They've become cynics. And my sister, of all people, has become a stone cold cynic. It's, like I said, every day I pray on my knees, the Lord, break my heart for what breaks yours. And my heart breaks every time. It's like she pierced my heart with a knife with the things she says. Then I remember something else that really is apt for the situation. And it comes from Proverbs 1, wisdom for young people. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Only fools despise wisdom and discipline. And it says here, listen, my child, as to what your father teaches you. Don't neglect your mother's teaching. What you learn from them will crown you with grace and clothe you with honor. It says here, my child, if sinners entice you, turn your back on them. They may say, come and join us. Let's hide and kill someone. Let's ambush the innocent. Let's swallow them alive as the grave swallows its victims. Though they are in the prime of life, they will go down to the pit of death, and the loot we'll get will fill our houses with all kinds of things. Come on, throw in your lot with us. We'll split our loot with you. Don't go along with them, my child. Stay away, far away from their paths. They rush to commit crimes. They hurry to commit murder. When a bird sees a trap being set, it stays away. But not these people. They set an ambush for themselves. They booby-trap their own lives. Such is the fate of all who are greedy for gain. It ends up robbing them of life. It is so simple. I'm sharing this with you. Hopefully, if you have a chance to share it with anyone or everyone whom you meet, these simple messages, it will save them from a lot of heartache. I know many people have brought in a lot of loot into the houses, new sneakers, new shoes, new whatever that they didn't pay for. What does the Bible say here? It ends up robbing them of life. When I think of my life, it's been so blessed. We came from nothing, so poor. Yet this country that since moving to the United States has afforded me a high-paying job, money in the bank, and world travel. I've been so blessed to have gone to all the major cities of this world. I've been so blessed to have seen beautiful architecture, art, culture, nature. I've been so blessed, especially when, to have gone to London, Paris, Madrid, Berlin, Athens, Rome, to have gone to Rome, the eternal city with 2,000-year history, to Florence to see the beautiful art of Uffizi Renaissance art, to be in Vienna, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, to have spent time in the Belvedere Palace in a room full of Klimt paintings, so precious. I love Gustav Klimt. And to be in a room full of them, you cannot describe the feeling of blessedness. To have been to the Versailles Palace, to have seen some of the world's wildest nature, like the Outer Hebrides. So after talking to her, I told her that, and she kind of shut up, knowing that what I say is right. And I went on my knees. I said, Lord, I've always been thankful. I said, Lord, thank you for so much for this blessed life. I always end saying, I want more. Each time I go to a church in Europe, I always thank God for the blessings He has given me, though unworthy. And each time I say, Lord, I want to continue to be able to do this. And He has answered my prayers each time. And there is a passage, I think in the Old Testament, when God said to the Israelites, in peace and joy you do not want to serve the Lord, but you will serve your enemies in strivings and pain. The Lord loves a grateful child. It's when you bless your own situation, bless your wallet, however empty it is, when you bless your circumstances, that it will grow. Blessings means groweth. So in gratitude, the first thing we do is to thank and bless God for salvation, if nothing else. It is troubling, again, as I said, when you look at the faces of the looters, the rapacity, and I checked the word again, rapacious. What is rapacious? It's not just greedy, it's aggressively greedy. When you see it, it is so disturbing. Greedy is one thing. aggressively greedy, grabbing things, destroying property to get in to take things that are not yours, whether it's sneakers, clothing, an iMac computer. Yeah, there's this picture of this guy carrying an iMac computer out of a store. And next thing, the other looters were fighting him for it, and they took it away. You see in Manhattan, people driving their Rolls Royces to the fancy stores to loot. They would take out the packages and put it outside and go in and take some more. And another Rolls Royce drives up to steal those packages. It is disturbing at best. I don't care how much you hate the cops and how brutal they are, but us as a person, this is soul destroying, if nothing else. And I pray that you and I as Christians will speak up and learn these passages and tell them, it's right here, right here. So if I tell you and you don't do it, there's something else. If you've never known, nobody's ever told you, there's something else too. But still, you should know. Did you pay for it? No. And here it is in your house. I will talk more about this thing too, because as I continue with the story of the history of the Jews, I will get to Joshua next. And there is a story in there of real significance too that addresses the situation. I pray this little message, learn this, hide this in your heart, you and I have always.